Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a much requested bag collection video. I am so sorry this has taken me so long to do. I don't really like filming bag collection videos because they take so long, which is why I've been putting it off, but I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible because I don't want to do like a 45-minute long video. But I also thought I would put a bit of a twist on it. So I did a video recently called Mini Bags Ranked, where I ranked all my mini bags from my most favourite to my least favourite. So I thought I would apply a similar kind of method to this video. So I'm going to be showing you every bag that I have in my collection, but I'm also going to be ranking them. So showing them in order of my absolute favourite bag right through to bags which I still like enough to have in my collection, but aren't necessarily ones that I would consider my favourites. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I did also want to mention that I will be excluding any bags that I was gifted. A strange and very wonderful perk of doing bag YouTube videos is that occasionally I will be gifted a bag. Doesn't happen very often, but it does occasionally. It's usually part of a sponsored blog post or something like that. So in the interest of keeping this completely accurate and neutral, I am going to be excluding any gifted bags and only including bags that I picked out and bought myself. So I hope you guys enjoy this and let's get going. So coming in straight at number one, I'm just going to get this out the way because you guys are probably sick of hearing about this bag, but it is my Chanel Jumbo. Of course, it was going to come in at number one. This one is 6 years old now. It still looks absolutely amazing. I still use it all the time. I still love it. I do still consider this my holy grail bag, and I cannot say enough good things. This is one where even though the price is so much more than what I paid for it, if something did happen to this bag, I would try everything I could to get another one because I love it that much and I do think I would be lost without it. So Chanel Jumbo, my absolute favourite, and I imagine it will continue to be my favourite for many years to come. Coming in at number two, I feel like this is a bit of a swooper, but it is my Louis Vuitton Neverfull in the MM size in the Damier Azur with the rose ballerine lining with a little pink lining there. And when I first got this, I liked it, but I did not think it would take me away from my first Neverfull, which is the monogram in the GM size, but it absolutely has. It's totally stolen my heart. It's now one of my go-to bags. Whenever I'm not sure what to reach for, I'll go for this and I never regret it. I thought it would only be a summer bag for me because of the print, but I have been using this all year round. It's very functional, very comfortable, and I just absolutely love it. I also recommended it to one of Dan's friends. He wanted to buy a bag for his wife for Christmas, and she really loves it as well. It just seems to be a universally loved one, so a solid number two favourite for me. Coming in at number three is my Chanel Mini, which is another one that I've talked about a lot on my channel. I absolutely love it. It's a constant favourite for me whenever I can get away with a bag this size. This is more often than not what I'm reaching for. I love the look of it. It's obviously very classic, but it's also very functional and durable as well. It fits a surprising amount, so you can put in all the essentials and then some, and I just think it's such a solid little bag. So I feel extremely lucky to have gotten this when I did. I did get it pre-loved a few years ago, and I know they are very difficult to find now. I do have a whole blog post on how to find one of these, so if you are in the market for one, then I will link that down below. But this is an absolute favourite for me and very deserving of the number three place, I think. Now for number four, and it is my Gucci Marmont in the nude colour. I did debate whether I should rank this as high as I am because I am aware that it is quite a trendy bag, but I had to go just on how much I used it and how much I've loved using it as well, and this really has been a standout bag for me. I own 2 other Mademoiselle Flaps and they also feature in this list obviously, but they do rank lower down just because I favour the nude one so much because I really think it is the perfect neutral. It doesn't have too much pink in it, but it's also not too beige or too yellow. It really is the ideal nude colour. The small size is perfect as well. I think you can fit so much in here. It's a very roomy bag and it's just so easy to wear. You know, it goes with everything. The flap chain style bag is very much my style anyway, and I just can't say enough good things. So definitely worthy just because it's been such a great go-to bag for me. I absolutely adore mine. Now for my Celine Nano. I spoke about this very recently and I cannot get enough of this bag. I absolutely adore it. This was another one that was kind of a surprise to me. I obviously liked it enough to buy it, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. This really has become a go-to. It's fantastic for travel just because it's so easy to wear, but it's also really versatile as well. So if you can only take one bag with you when traveling, this is a really good shout because you can wear it casually Has the crossbody strap, which you can also wear on your shoulder, but you can also take the straps off and use it just as a mini bag handheld as well. So it's very suitable for a whole variety of occasions. It's very durable. I can't see it losing its shape. I don't have to worry about the maintenance of it, and I really think it just goes with anything. So I love this. It also fits a ton as well, so the capacity is amazing without it being too oversized, and I absolutely love this. So another one that is certainly a favourite for me. This one is at number 5. Now for another mini bag, and it is my Saint Laurent clutch. This one really makes the cut just because how fit for purpose it is. You know, this may not be my most used bag just because it is very much an event clutch for me, but when I am going to a nicer event or dinner or something like that, this is what I'm grabbing 9 times out of 10. I love the look of it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I got it in the pale pink with the gold hardware combo, which for me is just very easy to pair. This is pretty much a neutral for me because of how pale it is, and it's also just very functional in terms of an evening bag. I wouldn't necessarily wear this as an errand running bag or anything like that just because it is a bit small, but certainly for evening it holds what I need it to. It'll just be, you know, cards, cash, keys, and maybe a lipstick and my phone. You do also have the chain as well, which makes it very functional if you do need to be hands-free, and it's very durable. The pebbled leather is very easy to maintain. It is literally wipe clean, and I absolutely love this. So in my opinion, this is the perfect event clutch and absolutely a mainstay in my collection. Next up is a fairly new addition to my collection, but it is the Tory Burch McGraw tote. This is actually tied in place with my Tory Burch Perry tote, which I'll be showing next. But I'm a huge fan of Tory Burch totes. I think they are great quality and great value for money, and I think they're a really good example of not having to spend thousands of pounds or dollars to get a really lovely bag. This one I think retails at about 300, and for me worth every single penny. You can also often get them on sale as well, and I just love mine. I love the colour, I love the detail, and also how functional they are. They are very lightweight, very comfortable to use, they fit an absolute ton, and if you're looking for a good all-rounder either for work or for school, I think this is a great choice. And here is my Tory Burch Perry tote. This one I tend to use mostly in summer now, but I still absolutely love it. This was the one that started off my love affair with Tory Burch tote bags, and I still think it's such a classic, great bag. Huge fan of them, just really, really solid buys. Next up at number 9 is my Chanel small iridescent flap. This is in the rose gold with the chevron print. I got this for my birthday last year. Took me a little while to track down, but it is such a stunning special piece. Not necessarily an everyday bag, so it wouldn't necessarily make the ranking just based on usage, but certainly in terms of how much I love and cherish it, I do think it's such a special piece, and one that hopefully I will continue to enjoy for many, many years. And now for a definite oldie but goodie, I had to include my Neverfull GM in the top 10. Even though this doesn't get quite as much usage as my Neverfull now, this is still my go-to bag for travel. I pretty much never travel without it because it's so functional, it's very comfortable, it's very worn in now as well, so it has patinaed quite a bit, but I don't mind that because I just think that is a sign of a well-loved and used bag. Capacity is enormous, as you can see, so it's even good as an overnight bag, which I do sometimes use it as, and I can't say enough good things. You guys know I love my Neverfulls, and this was a very solid buy. Cost per wear is very minimal just because of how much I've used it, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. Next up is my Chanel Mini in the rectangle size in this kind of beautiful raspberry red with a little bit of pink as well. Once upon a time this did make my list of least used bags, but thankfully I rescued it from that list and I've gotten a lot better at wearing this. It's still definitely not an everyday bag, and I do kind of put this alongside my rose gold chevron flap as not necessarily an everyday one, but definitely a special occasion bag. It is lambskin, so it is a bit more delicate, but I love the pop of colour. I am quite boring though, and I do tend to just wear it with all black. Not very good at matching colour, I will readily admit that, but I do make a much more conscious effort to use this, and I have fallen in love with it all over again. It's a beautiful bag. I bought it in Paris when I visited the dance. I have great memories of it as well, and it is just a really, really beautiful one. Next up is the newest addition to my bag collection, and I wasn't really sure where to rank this just because I've not used it yet. I got it for Christmas and it's been absolutely miserable weather in London. This is very much a summer bag, so I am waiting for it to get a little bit warmer to wear it. So in terms of actual usage, it's pretty much none. Obviously I absolutely love it though, so I kind of decided to rank it here because hopefully it will become a very used and loved bag, but I can't really say too much about wear and tear or anything like that. So just based on how much I love the look of it, it ranks very highly, but the jury's still out in terms of wear and tear and usability. Next up at number 13 is my Givenchy Antigona, and this exact one is a fairly new addition as well, but I have owned an Antigona for a couple of years now. Originally I'd gotten a off-white one that I bought pre-loved, which I absolutely loved, but I eventually sold that in favour of this black one just because I had more of a gap in my collection for a larger black bag, and no regrets, I think it's worked out really well. I absolutely love this bag. I do feel like the Antigona is more of a love it or hate it kind of bag. I think you either really get on with it or you don't like it at all. I definitely am a fan though. I think it's a great style, very classic. I think it's going to be around for quite a few more years to come, and it just goes with everything, you know. It's a very easy one to just grab and go, and I really do enjoy mine, so highly recommend. I'm a huge fan of the Antigona. Next up is my Gucci Mademoiselle Flap in the black, and this is the one that started off my mini obsession with the Marmont line. I got this a little bit over a year ago for Christmas, and I do really love it to bits. Not quite as much as my nude one, which kind of has stolen my heart in terms of my favourite Marmont bag ever, but this one still ranks very highly because of how great it is. Obviously the same functionality, you know, it's very roomy, very comfortable to wear, and black is obviously such a great neutral as well. This one has had a ton of use. It's done very well in terms of wear and tear, and I can't really say enough good things. I really enjoy it, and I think it's a great style. Next up is my Fendi Peekaboo, and you may remember I talked about this recently in a video where I said I was actually considering selling it. I still haven't made up my mind. I'm veering more towards no now, but I'm still very undecided. But essentially that was not a comment on the quality or the style of the bag, because I absolutely love it. The only reason I was considering selling this is because the colour is a little bit bright for me. I was considering getting one in a more neutral colour. The one I wanted is now sold out though, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but either way I rank this fairly highly because I do think it is an absolutely beautiful bag. Fendi bags are priced very highly, but I do find the quality of the craftsmanship to be very high. I love the style. I think it's very functional. I think the shape is very elegant. I just love everything about it. So the Peekaboo is definitely still a very strong contender for me. I absolutely adore it. Not sure what the fate of this particular bag holds, but I am still very much enjoying the style. Next up is a much older style, and this is my pale pink Chanel flap. I know it looks white on camera, but it is actually a very pale pink, and it has the gold plated hardware, which tells you how old it is. I've had this for many years. I bought it pre-loved, and I use this an absolute ton, which is why I don't really use it that much now, just because I want to give it a bit of a rest. It is lambskin, and you can see this was my go-to summer bag. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it on camera, but there is a bit of a gradient of colour because I use this without abandon all the time. Whenever I had a summer event, this was my bag, and it has suffered a little bit because of that, so I tend not to take it out so much now, but I absolutely love this. It has the braiding detail as well. This is such a special bag to me. I can't really imagine ever giving it up because I do love it so much, so definitely worthy of a higher ranking. Still very much a favourite, even if it doesn't get as much use now. Next up is my St Laurent Cape bag, and I really dithered about exactly where to rank this. I do really love the style, but there was one negative that made me rank it a little bit lower. So in terms of the positives, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I love the tassel. I think it's very cool looking, and I love the fact that it manages to be both edgy and classic at the same time. In terms of capacity, it isn't huge, so you do really have to strip down to the bare essentials. So this is maybe more suitable for minimalists, or if you only plan on using it like an evening bag like I do. But in terms of general usage and beauty, I think it ranks really highly because I do absolutely love it. The only big negative for me is the fact that because of the smooth and shiny leather, it does seem to mark up very easily. This isn't in terms of long-term wear, just because you can wipe it clean, but if you have anything on your fingers like makeup or anything like that, it will show up, so you do have to be on top of the maintenance and wipe it clean if you do use it. So not a deal breaker by any means, but it does mean it ranks a little bit lower than say my other St Laurent clutch bag. So still definitely a favourite of mine. I do wish the wear and tear was just a little bit better though. Next up is my Chanel Boy bag, and if you watched my video on my least used luxury items of last year, then you will recognise this one. I did talk about it then, but essentially I love this bag to bits, but I I just do not reach for it, and it's taken me a long time to even admit that because it is such a favourite of mine, but I do feel like it's maybe just a little bit too edgy for me. I was fairly surprised when I put up that video that so many of you said the same thing, that you'd bought and loved the boy bag but you just didn't reach for it very much, so I'm glad to know that at least I'm not the only one. I still really do enjoy the look of it and I think it's such a cute bag, but I'm not totally sure about whether this is a long-term addition to my collection. Next up is my Gucci Mini Velvet Marmont. This is the newest addition to my Marmont collection and I do really love this bag. It's such a great size. If you're comparing between the small flap, then this really fits almost as much. Very easy to wear as well, which is what I love about it. It's very easy to just sling across. You can wear it on the shoulder and you can also wear it crossbody. I think it looks very cute both ways. The only reason why it's not ranking it a little bit higher is because the wear and tear on the velvet isn't quite as good as I would like it to be. I am thinking about taking it to the Gucci store to see what they say, but it is wearing quite badly on the corners here. So jury is still out. If you are debating between this and the leather version, I would say that the leather does seem to be quite a bit more durable, and also it doesn't pick up any fluff, which this one definitely does. So I still love this one because I think it's very cute and so perfect for the colder months, but the wear and tear isn't quite as good as the leather versions. Next up is my Prada double bag, and this one doesn't get as much use as it should, but I still do absolutely love it. It took me a long time to find this exact colour combination. I did have to get it pre-loved, but I think it's such a beautiful bag and it's absolutely on my list of bags I need to use more this year. I got mine in the cameo colour with the rose pink lining. It comes with a strap as well, so it is fairly functional. It's also pretty lightweight, so it makes a really good work bag, and I just think it's such a beautiful one. Honestly, I just get very lazy with my bags, and more often than not I just grab a tote bag. I'm definitely more of a tote bag girl in general, but I do still want to make sure I use this one because I do like it so much. I have heard varying things in terms of the quality of Prada. I haven't experienced anything too bad with this one. It seems to be very, very easygoing to me. Obviously, I haven't been using this as a daily bag, so I can't really comment on hardcore wear and tear, but for me, I haven't had any issues at all. Anything that I have spilt on it or marked, I have been able just to wipe it clean. Obviously, being a lighter bag, you know, I don't fling it about carelessly, but in general, I think this has done pretty well. So still a favourite of mine and one that I'm going to try and use more this year. Now for my very first Chanel bag, which again I don't really talk about too much on my channel, but that's because it is a very, very old model. This was another one that I bought pre-loved. I really wanted the classic flap, but I couldn't afford it, so I went for this instead, and honestly this has done me very, very well. I think I bought it for about $900, so it was quite a few years ago. I wish Chanel bags were $900. I got it from the US, but I think this is a really beautiful bag. It's done very, very well indeed. It is looking a little bit worse to wear now, so you can see that the sides are caving in, but honestly I've used this bag so many times for many years. This was my only Chanel bag, so it got a lot of love and attention. A lot of things have happened to it, and all things considered, I think it's done very well. I don't use it so much now, but I can't really imagine ever getting rid of this just because it holds a lot of memories and sentimental value as well, I suppose. So doesn't necessarily rank that highly just because I don't reach for it, but I still don't think I would ever get rid of this one. Next up is my Gucci So Disco, and this is a bag that once upon a time probably would have made my top 10 list. I do still think it's a very, very good bag. I love the style. I think the design is great. It's very functional and it fits an absolute ton as well. The only reason why it doesn't rank particularly high on my list today is because I just don't use it that much anymore. Part of the reason for that is because I do have quite a few bags, and also I do just tend to reach for bags which are a little bit more structured or can more easily be dressed up or down. When I do go travelling, I do tend to reach for this more because it is a really good holiday bag, but for day-to-day life I just don't reach for this very much. So even though it's a great bag and I would absolutely still recommend it if you are looking for a casual crossbody, it doesn't rank as highly just because I don't reach for it quite as much. Next up is my Longchamp Les Plages bag. It's completely buttoned up at the moment, which is one thing that I really love about these bags, how portable they are, but you can simply unfold. And I have a couple of these. I'm not going to include them all in individual entries, but I'm just including the general category of Longchamp Les Plages bags. I think these are really great. I would say every bag lover should own one just because it's so functional. It's really great for travel. It's really great if you live in a rainy place like I do. It rains a fair bit in London, and these are lifesavers. You can even use them to protect other bags, so these are slim enough that you can fit in other bags and pop them out and cover up your things if you need to, because it is very waterproof. So I absolutely love these. The wear and tear isn't quite as great, but apparently you can replace the corners if you need to. They're also not super crazy expensive as well, so definitely a great bag. I still absolutely love mine. Next up is my Marc Jacobs biker backpack, and the only reason I rank this fairly low is because I just don't use it that much, but I also kind of bought it for that purpose. So I really only bought it for holidays, if I'm going to theme parks, something like that. I wanted a lightweight backpack, and this is great for that. You know, it's very lightweight, very comfortable. It fits a ton, but it's not too big, so that aspect is perfect as well. The only reason I ranked it quite low is because when I was thinking of bags I could possibly part ways with, I knew this wasn't an absolute necessity, but still a really good one and not one I'm considering selling or anything. I really love it, just not one that gets a whole ton of use. Next up is my Chloe Drew, and I feel a little bit bad about ranking this one so low. It is coming in at number 25. I do still really love the look of it. I think it is a beautiful bag, but I don't really reach for this anymore, and I mentioned why in another recent video, but essentially I got my Saint Laurent clutch in the exact same colour combination, and that bag has pretty much replaced this one in terms of what I reach for when I want that kind of colour and function. So I got the Saint Laurent bag in the pale pink with the gold hardware. Probably a bit of a mistake, but I just don't really have a use for this one anymore. So this is probably another one that I will be parting ways with. Again, it's a beautiful bag. The wear and tear isn't quite as great, I will say that. So the leather is a lot more delicate and the hardware does get a little bit scratched, but it is definitely a beautiful, very dainty bag, and I do see why it's so popular, but for me, my preference is with the Saint Laurent clutch. Next up is my Chanel boy bag in the pink with the chevron pattern, and I spoke about this bag in the same video that I talked about my other Chanel boy bag, but sadly it's the same old story that I'm just not sure the Chanel boy bags are for me. This one ranks a little bit lower just because I find this even harder to match because it is quite a bright pop of colour, so I do think I'm probably going to part ways with this one this year. I do still really love the look of it. I think it's absolutely beautiful with the shiny silver hardware, but this one has not gotten enough use for me to justify the cost. Definitely a pretty one, but sadly not one that gets a whole lot of use. Next up is my Goyard St Louis tote, and I always have such mixed feelings about this bag. I got it as a graduation gift from my mum a few years ago, and I absolutely have the fondest memories of this bag. I love the look of it, I love the personalisation, and I love the general style, but the wear and tear on this bag is pretty much amongst the worst I've ever seen. I didn't use it very much at all, and within I think a couple of months I saw wear on all the corners to the point where there are actual tears in there. I wasn't too hard on this bag, you know, I took very good care of it, and that still happened. I inquired about getting the corners fixed and it was going to be a fair bit of money, so I eventually decided not to, just because I didn't want to spend more money on a bag which wasn't going to be that hard wearing. So since then I pretty much never use this. If I compare it to the Neverfull, there really is no comparison in terms of how hard wearing they are, so even though I would never get rid of this because of the memories and just, you know, sentimental factor, I guess, I don't think I can really recommend this in good conscience because it's not a very hard wearing or durable bag, at least in my experience. And coming in at last place is my Furla Metropolis bag. This probably won't surprise anyone that watches my channel regularly. I have mentioned that I was not getting on with this bag before, but essentially I find it very uncomfortable. Some of you seem to agree with my analysis of the chain comfort. I find this a very, very uncomfortable chain to wear. It really digs into my shoulder. Other people say they find it very comfortable, so maybe it does depend on the kind of shoulder you have. So if you are so interested in this bag, then I would say maybe trying it on and see if it works for you. But as soon as I fill this bag with anything really, it becomes very uncomfortable to wear, so I do need to let go of this bag. I just have to get around to doing it, but this one was kind of a no-brainer for the last ranking on my list just because I have not gotten on with it at all. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I will leave an entire list of every single bag I featured down below in the description section, but if you do have any other questions, then let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.